Are you the kind of F1 fan who has a stack of season review DVDs in the corner of their bedroom? Do you often reminisce about yesteryear and a favourite season you can remember? Come on, if you're watching this, you're a Formula 1 fan, you gotta have a favourite season, right? I'm Andre Harrison. In this episode of the Top 5, I'll be going over my personal 5 favourite seasons in Formula 1. Now yes, I know I sound young, 23 to be exact, but I have memories too. Shame they don't have V12 engines in them for the most part, but nonetheless, here's my top 5 favourite F1 seasons, right here on RaceWorld TV. At number 5, the 2007 season. This was a season that will forever go down to me as the Lewis Hamilton season. So much pressure was heaped on the 22-year-old from Stevenage and how we all thought he would cope alongside the reigning double world champion of Fernando Alonso as a teammate. But he delivered brilliantly as he scored podiums in his first 9 races, becoming the youngest driver to ever lead the World Championship. It was a season that had its drama too, with the incredible sudden downpour of Germany and the highly controversial qualifying incidents in Hungary, where Fernando Alonso deliberately waited in the pit lane to make sure Lewis Hamilton couldn't get a final lap under his belt, a move that foreshadowed Alonso's departure later that year. It was Lewis's title to win until a rookie mistake in China, beaching his car in the pit lane, which meant there was a three-way title fight heading into the final round. But in a race where both McLarens had technical problems, Kimi Räikkönen, having won 3 of the last 4 races, won one of the closest championships in racing history, taking the title by just a single point from Lewis and Fernando, who were tied for second. A season where Lewis Hamilton stole the show, but the new Ferrari man stole the title at his first attempt, and probably upset a lot of ITV TV executives in the process. "2003 was the season that F1 badly needed. After 2002 was a season dominated by Michael Schumacher, 2003 had McLaren and Williams catch up in what ended up being a brilliant 3-horse race for the championship between their leading drivers, Michael Schumacher, Kimi Räikkönen, and Juan Pablo Montoya, the IndyCar Series champion, heading over and showing just how talented a crossover racer he was, winning at Monaco and Michael's home turf of Germany. This season also had the unbelievable Brazilian Grand Prix, which may or may not have already made an appearance on a previous top 5. Wink wink. If you haven't already, check that out. It's an all-time classic race. Kimi Räikkönen may not have had the dazzling win count, but he had brilliant consistency. Despite winning only 1 race to Michael's 5, Kimi had 7 second-place finishes, and the championship went down to the final round in Japan, with the drivers and constructors still up for grabs. And despite another second place from Kimi, it was the unsung hero of Rubens Barrichello who won the constructors' title for Ferrari, with Michael solitary point in 8th, enough for him to take his 6th world championship, making him the most successful driver in F1 history. For the V10s, the close title fight, and a genuine freeway power struggle at the top with unpredictability, check out the 2003 season. I mean, any season with 8 different winners has to be worth a look, right? "2010 is a season that appeals to me in a lot of ways. It was a landmark moment as Mercedes returned as a factory team. Wonder what happened to them. And the return of Michael Schumacher after 3 years out of the sport. It also had the entry of 3 new teams, Virgin, HRT and Lotus, even if, sadly, only one is still standing as the time of this recording. It also had one of the fiercest and closest fights for a driver's title we've ever seen in F1, with Red Bull's Mark Webber and Sebastian Vettel alongside McLaren's Lewis Hamilton and Jenson Button forming an all-British world champion super team, and the Ferrari of Fernando Alonso, the Maranello outfit's new marquee signing after the departure of Kimi Räikkönen. The season had some dramatic moments, like the massive Red Bull clash between Webber and Vettel at Turkey, the beginning of the end of their mutual friendship as drivers, and the Korean Grand Prix, where Webber seemed to throw the title away by spinning into a wall, and Sebastian Vettel's engine dying just 2 laps from the end in a race where he was set for glory. The championship still had 4 eligible contenders going into the final round at Abu Dhabi, and after Mark Webber and Fernando Alonso got stuck behind the infamous Renault of Vitaly Petrov, Sebastian Vettel led from the front to make history as F1's youngest ever world champion. And Petrov got another kind of finger. 2010 was another example of what can happen when even the best car has its off days, and a 4-way title fight on the last day was thrilling enough to give it the number 3 spot on this list. Of course 1976 was going to be there, wasn't it? 1976 will forever be etched into the minds of many an older F1 fan as Hunt versus Lauda and their incredible rivalry that captured the hearts and mind of the sporting world. Niki Lauda was the by-the-numbers hardcore Austrian, while James Hunt was the lavish, chain-smoking, womanizing hero that F1 needed to usher in the start of F1 on television. Lauda held a massive championship lead in the early going, while Hunt had to deal with an excessively wide car in Spain, but was later reinstated. There was more political drama after Hunt was disqualified in his home race after running in a spare car. But of course, 76 will probably be most remembered for Lauda's awful crash at the Nürburgring, nearly costing him his life and causing Niki to miss 3 races. The championship went down to the final round at Fuji, the first ever race to be broadcast live on national television, and in the pouring rain, Lauda decided not to continue due to the conditions, and in the bravest of drives, Hunt stormed back from 6th to 3rd in the dying stages to win the championship by just a single point. Now, I couldn't have put this season as number 1. Heck, I was born in 92. That would be just silly of me. But if you haven't already, go see Rush, the movie by Ron Howard. It's a wonderful interpretation of the story and how Hunt and Lauda became one of F1's greatest rivalries and one of F1's most captivating seasons. For me, my personal favourite season is 2012. I love seasons that can tell a story, and 2012 had so many you could write an entire book about it, given it had so many incredible moments. 2012 had 7 different winners in the first 7 races, from 6 different teams, including Pastor Maldonado as an unlikely winner in Spain, and Nico Rosberg taking Mercedes' first victory since returning in China. It was a breakout season for Sergio Perez too, scoring 3 podiums for an unlikely Sauber team at just 21 years old, a future star in the making. Michael Schumacher left the sport with one last piece of magic as he reminded us of his true greatness with an incredible pole position lap in Monaco. Valencia had Fernando Alonso win from 11th on the grid, the greatest victory of his career in an all-time classic. There was the huge accident in Spa that caused F1's first driver suspension in over a decade, with Romain Grosjean's reputation in tatters. Lewis Hamilton dropped McLaren for Mercedes, a move we all questioned at the time, but apparently turned out alright. But as the title race reached its climax, Vettel dominated Asia, winning 4 in a row to bring the title fight between him and Fernando, Ferrari versus Red Bull, as both drivers closed in on a 3rd title and a true spot amongst F1's greats. Sebastian Vettel pulled out 2 of the great F1 individual performances, coming from the back twice in Abu Dhabi to finish on the podium, and then recovering from a near-terminal crash in Brazil, a race that also very nearly made my top 5 races of the century, and would become a triple world champion. For me, 2012 is everything you could ever wish to see in a sporting season. Drama, incredible races, captivating stories, new stars and old taking the spotlight, a title fight that went down to the wire, unpredictability at every turn, and so much more. That's why for me, 2012 is the greatest F1 season ever. So, what did you make of my top 5? Got any suggestions of your own? Let me know in the comments, I'd love to hear them, and until next time, I've been Andre Harrison, and thanks for watching.